right. Cool. So we're live here. The camera's there. I'm actually grilling out right now. So I figured I'd take a minute while I'm doing that, and we'll play some music on the record player. So it's from this. The box is actually broken that it came in. But it's a set of records. And they're historical records. The first one is already on the record player. And from the front cover, you can pause that and look at it. It'll probably come through clear enough. And it's talking mostly about the World Wars. And we'll just let the record, you know, kind of speak for itself. Let's see, the camera's there. All right. So we'll turn the camera around. And if you'll remember, this is the record player I fixed with the JB Weld and everything, the old record player. So let's get this turned on and ready to go. And again, I'm going to be cooking and stuff, so I won't be listening to this too much. And hopefully that doesn't make too much noise. We'll lock it in right there. And let's give it a shot. History, folks.
These are the sounds of days that are past. We record a new dimension of history. A scrapbook of sounds from 13 years of violence and achievement. Part of the greatest mass adventure man has yet undertaken. A voice can cut through the hazy fog of time and bring yesterday's images sharply into focus. Do you recognize this voice?
You hold the distinction of being the only nation in the history of the world that ever went to the poorhouse in an automobile.
That was the voice of Will Rogers, trying to teach America how to laugh its way through a depression. 1933 was dark all over the world. Japan was already in Manchuria, and the League of Nations was dying in Geneva. In Germany, the Reichstag fire was history. So was the Weimar Republic. In Italy, Benito Mussolini had translated the people's search for security into savage conquest. In rich, fertile America, fear and uncertainty lay heavy upon the land.
Our greatest primary task is to put people to work.
Franklin D. Roosevelt stood beside Chief Justice Hughes on the steps of the Capitol on that raw afternoon of March 4th, and the nation, with 15 million unemployed, listened.
So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance.
The first year of the New Deal was vigorous, desperate, experimental, and, like a surgeon's most powerful drugs, dangerous. Franklin Roosevelt and his corps of political practitioners, Hopkins, Tugwell, Moley, Wallace, and Hugh Johnson, created the most controversial administration since Lincoln. And yet, either because of it or in spite of it, the patient revived and prospered. Production and employment were up. The soup kitchens and the apple stands disappeared. But a nervous America was still not sufficiently removed from panic to disregard completely the promises and plans of political soothsayers such as Townsend, Coghlan, and Huey Long.
The bank accounts show that 1/150th part of the people own 2/3 of all the money that's in the bank. The only way by which we can ever bring this country out is to redistribute the wealth.
1936 was the year in which the state of New Jersey electrocuted Bruno Richard Hauptmann for the Lindbergh kidnapping. It was also a presidential election year. But the biggest news story was in London and concerned political intrigue, an empire, a Baltimore beauty, and the King of England. On the night of December 11th, as Big Ben tolled the hour, London cinemas were deserted, New York subways empty at their usual rush hour. In Eugene, Oregon, and Johannesburg, you could hear the world quiet down.
This is Windsor Castle. His Royal Highness Prince Edward. But at long last, I am able to say a few words of my own. I have never wanted to withhold anything. But until now, it has not been constitutionally possible for me to speak. But you must believe me when I tell you that I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do, without the help and support of the woman I love. And now we all have the new king. I wish him and you, his people, happiness and prosperity with all my heart. God bless you all. God save the king.
All right, for the next part of our history lesson, let's just go right to the other side of this record. We'll take it, flip it around. You can see this is also side 1 for some reason, but whatever. It likes to stick right there. Sorry about that noise. That was kind of annoying. We'll try not to let that happen again.
In the days just prior to VE Day, Allied divisions in Germany began meeting the most extreme victims of fascism. Out of death factories there began to emerge the living, stumbling ghosts of Buchenwald, Dachau, and Belgium. And a new set of initials joined our language, BPs. Albert Einstein, German refugee, class of 33, Enrico Fermi, Italian exile, class of 38, might well have been among them, and we might have lost the Battle of the Atomic Scientists, which had its climax on the island of Tinian on August 6, 45. Now you are at the world's largest airfield on Tinian in the Marianas. The voice you hear is that of Captain William Downey, who stood amongst the target charts, the escape kits, and the stale coffee, and said a prayer for the Enola Gay and civilization.
We pray thee that the end of the war may come soon, and that once more we may know peace on earth. May the men who fly this night be kept safe in thy care, and may they be returned safely to us. We shall go forward, trusting in thee, knowing that we are in thy care now and forever. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
The bomb run lasted 4 minutes. The bomb went away at 9:15. My God was the only entry in the co-pilot's diary. 78,150 people died at Hiroshima.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The world will note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, a military base. We won the race of discovery against the Germans. We have used it in order to shorten the agony of war, in order to save the lives of thousands and thousands of young Americans. We shall continue to use it until we completely destroy Japan's power to make war.
7 p.m. Eastern Wartime, Bob Trout reporting. The Japanese have accepted our terms fully. That's the word we've just received from the White House in Washington. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the Second World War. The United Nations, on land, on the sea, in the air, and to the 4 corners of the earth, are united and are victorious. We got that information on a special line from the White House And now it's beginning to come in on the wire services, too. President Truman announced it at 7 p.m. tonight, just a minute ago. And now a flash, MacArthur appointed Jap boss over the Emperor of Japan.
Well, where were you on September 2nd, 1945? If you were Jonathan Wainwright, you were on the crowded heavy decks of the battleship Missouri in Tokyo Bay, listening to an old comrade call your name.
Will General Wainwright and General Percival step forward and accompany me while I sign?
If your name was Douglas MacArthur, you have kept a date made 3,000 miles and 4 years ago.
Let us pray that peace be now restored to the world, and that God will preserve it always. These proceedings are closed.
At the historic instant, when the first atomic bomb seemed to charge out of the bowels of the earth, Professor George Kistiakowsky remarked, "I am sure that on Doomsday, in the last millisecond, the last man on earth will see what we have just seen." In direct contrast, William Lawrence of the New York Times felt as though he were present at the dawn of creation, when the Lord said, "Let there be light." If the universe is as many millions years old as we think it is, our crowded little era of 13 years is but an instant of yesterday, when it is past. 1933's unemployment, September at Munich, that June 10th at Lidice, December 7th at Pearl Harbor, 9/15 over Hiroshima, were all part of the identical moment. The one question remaining then, was it 23:59 o'clock or 00:01? Was there to be still another cycle of affliction, appeasement, and annihilation? Or did we walk through midnight towards the dawn without knowing it?
But yeah, that was kind of neat. Let's go right on to the next one here. This will take me just a bit longer because I have to get the other record out of its sleeve. Oh, no need for that. So, put the record away, get the new record out. You also have to be very careful that you don't drop these records. Oh wait, I accidentally gave you side 10 first, didn't I? Or something. Huh. I can't read, so yeah, I accidentally gave you side 10, which is the end. You tell the difference here. Side 2, and then on the back of it will be side 9. So I played it completely wrong for you, but you still get the basic idea, even if we're listening to them out of order. And I really don't care. So let's keep listening to history that happened about 70 years ago.
With the exception of the president, no one in American politics receives a larger paycheck than the mayor of the city of New York. From 1934 to 46, with the exception of the president, no one in American politics made more news than the irrepressible mayor of the city of New York, Fiorello H. LaGuardia.
Yes, I have the proof that my kind of city government is the kind of city government the people of our city want. Isn't it grand? There isn't a single solitary county chairman of either party who is in favor of my administration. To use the phrase that Al Smith liked to use in his days, I can run on a laundry ticket and beat these political bums any time.
By the summer of 36, time was running out on the New Deal's first term. Now the honeymoon was over. Vital segments of the once strongly pro-New Deal press asked for an end to the pump priming and supported the Republican nominee, Governor Alf Landon. Some called him a Andrew Cooper.
I believe that a man can be a liberal without being a Democrat.
At Franklin Field in Philadelphia, to the cheers of more than 100,000 supporters, Franklin D. Roosevelt accepted his party's second call and began a political campaign that was to win him every state but two.
To some generations, much is given. Of other generations, much is expected. This generation of Americans has a rendezvous with destiny.
American labor had made many a long stride under the New Deal and was now big business. Its leaders, the Greens, the Lewises, the Hillmans, were, like their counterparts in management, major political powers. By 1935, John Llewellyn Lewis had increased the membership of his United Mine Workers to almost 500,000, had bolted the AFL and formed the CIO. And on Labor Day of '37, he laid the lash of his biblical oratory upon FDR. It was the climax of a row which had been seething since the little steel strike of early spring, when the president had turned to Tom Gergler and Lewis, and in a rare moment of petulance said, "A plague on both your houses." John Llewellyn Lewis answered,
"Labor, like Israel, has many sorrows. Its women weep for their fallen, and they lament for the future of the children of the race. It ill behooves one who has supped at labor's table and who has been sheltered in labor's house to curse with equal fervor and fine impartiality both labor and its adversaries when they become locked in deadly embrace."
The air age was upon us. The dirigible Hindenburg was crossing the Atlantic in less than 48 hours. Pan American was flying San Francisco to Manila and Hong Kong on a timetable. But the remarkable air achievement was not without its price. Flyers like Ed Music, Wiley Post, and Amelia Earhart Putnam paid the price for progress.
We take you now to Lakehurst, New Jersey.
It was drizzling that April night at Lakehurst as announcer Herb Morrison stood beside the WLF storm truck to describe the arrival of the dirigible Hindenburg.
As typified necessity toward us like some big feathers. These giant flagships standing here, the American airline flagships, waiting in direction of the last one from the United States when they get the ship moored. It's practically standing still now. They drop rope opposite the nose of the ship. They have flapped up a little bit. The fast motors of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it from... It's right, it's right, terrible. Get out of the way, please. It's pushing in the planes and it's falling. The worst catastrophe in the world. Oh, 400 or 500 feet into the sky. It's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. It's smoke and it's flames now. And the flame is rising to the ground. Not quite to the mooring mast. Oh, my God.
And as I said earlier, I am outside cooking as well. We'll actually go out and show you what I'm doing here. Look at my house. It's a fucking mess. I got to do some sweeping. Records are really neat, Mike says. Yeah, I'm actually checking most of the comments on my computer. But let's take a look at my food here. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff, I think. Set that there just a minute. Hello, folks, and thanks for tuning in to Not the Wolf Pit, but I'm teaching you how to cook anyway. So this right here is veggies. Don't touch it, it's hot. Like I say, I like to listen to records while I'm cooking, and that record player is pretty neat. One of these days, I'll probably do a teardown on it or something. This is the best way to cook your corn, by the way. Just leave it right in there, cook it all up, and it'll come out beautiful. Doesn't matter how much you burn the outside, the inside should be fine. Up here, I've got all the meats I've already cooked. And they're just kind of chilling there, smoking a bit on the outside. But I'm not ready to eat yet, so let's pull pull that back there. On a smoker grill, if you adjust this thing, there you go. That's all we need to see of that. That'll keep the heat down a little bit. That's the most interesting thing I reckon I've done so far on a live stream. So anyway, we'll set that right back up. And again, we're switching the wrong way between sides here. So we're just going to keep that tradition and go from side 2 to side 9. So we're kind of listening to it both ends toward the middle, which is fine. It's history after all. Oops, I overclicked it a little bit. It doesn't like that. I've got to fix that mechanism.
That's radio's way of shouting this program for a special news bulletin. That's radio's way of shouting extra, as John Daly did late that April afternoon.
Wilderness Road. Adventure on the American frontier with the Weston family and Daniel Boone in the exciting days following the American Revolution.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin from CBS World News. A press association has just announced that President Roosevelt is dead. The president died of a cerebral hemorrhage. All we know so far is that the president died at Warm Springs in Georgia.
If you were one of those who loved FDR, and there were many, or if you were one of those who hated him, and there were many, that flash from Warm Springs was as personal as a body blow, or a wire from the War Department. Without warning, the central pivot had slipped out of a 12-year era, and you were stunned by this sudden cleavage of time. He had gone down Pennsylvania Avenue many times before. This was his last trip to the White House. A city watched, a nation listened. Arthur Godfrey, an old Washington hand, described it.
The drums are wrapped in black crape and are muffled, as you can hear. The pace of the musicians is so slow. And behind them, these are Navy boys. And now just coming past the Treasury, I can see the horses drawing the caisson. And most generally, folks having as tough a time as I am trying to see it. And behind it is the car bearing the men on whose shoulders now fall the terrific burdens and responsibilities that were handled so well by the men to whose body we're paying our last respect now. God bless him, President Truman. We're returning out of the studio.
One of FDR's most fitting epitaphs was written before he died by a Kansas Republican, William Allen White. Biting good Republican nails, we are compelled to say that Franklin Roosevelt is the most unaccountable president the United States has ever seen. He has seen more of this amazing world than Marco Polo. Well, darn your smiling old picture, here it is. We who hate your gaudy guts salute you. Now, if you listen very closely, you will hear some unrehearsed stage whispers between Speaker Rayburn and the 32nd President.
Mr. Speaker. Just a moment. Let me present you with you, Harry. Members of the Congress, I have the great pleasure and the high privilege of presenting to you the President of the United States.
There is another burst of applause and cheers, and then Americans settled back to listen to their new president.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, members of the Congress, it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you, my friends and colleagues in the Congress of the United States. Within an hour after I took the oath of office, I announced that the San Francisco Conference would proceed. In the memory of those who have made the supreme sacrifice, in the memory of our fallen president, we shall not fail.
13 days later, Secretary of State Edward Stettinius stepped before the delegates of 46 nations.
The Conference of the United Nations on International Organization is now convened. we shall open the conference with 1 minute of silent and solemn meditation.
On May 8th, President Truman announced that another promise had been kept.
I only wish that Franklin D. Roosevelt had lived to witness this day. General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
All right, and that's the end of that side, as you can see. We're actually going to, since we're in the 1940s with this set of records anyway, we're going to jump in a special record for a minute. And the other thing you have to be careful with when you're dealing with the kind of 78s you got here, there's a thing. I actually just broke this one today when I dropped it, because they're made out of shellac. And so they are very, very brittle. And you can see where that one cracked as soon as I dropped it. And that's really not something you want to happen if you want to keep playing your records. I don't know what was on it, and now I probably never will. Because I don't think I ever actually listened to this one. I don't know when it was made, because I can't read it. December 1906-ish, maybe? The latest patent on it is 1909, so that's 110 years old, perhaps. But yeah, just a simple drop can completely destroy them. That crack runs the whole length of it here. I don't know if you can see it as well in the light there. All the way down under the sticker. So I put a screw in it and stuck it in the wall because it just looks kind of neat, you know? Right next to my more modern record player there. I got a battery hooked up to the phone just so I can use it. There's like my records and stuff. Not a big collection, nothing fancy. But they're really fun to play, just like this one. So anyway, let's go ahead and show you the mystery record here. I'm going to cock that up for a second. And we're going to show you this record that I found. There, let's pop it up a little bit. Because it's actually not nearly so bad as you think it might be. And here's what I was talking about with the difference on your needle. So let's see, part 2, here, part 1. So, yeah, I don't know why that sticks so much going on there. But here's the thing I was showing you with the needle earlier. We had it on the 78 side. So now I actually have to flip it, and hopefully the needle on this side is decent. Remember, this one I repaired. But, oops, I clicked it too far again. It really doesn't want that mechanism to work right. If it worked right, it would push that needle over all the way, but it's not for some reason. So, let's see how this needle sounds. Oh, I forgot. We have to go down to a 33 record. And if you can't see that, crap. I keep dropping that battery because I keep forgetting it's attached. You have 3 settings here. One's for the 33 speed. As you can see, 33s are much slower than your 45s or your 78s. And that's because they're recorded at different speeds to give you different fidelity based upon the material they're made out of. In case you didn't know that, I guess. So anyway, I don't think that's even going to stand up. But anyway, you've also got for the automatic setting, a setting for the 12-inch records, which is this. The 10-inch, which are a little smaller, and that's like the clarinet polka I played the other day. And you've got the 7-inch records, which are mostly 45s. But anyway, we're on the 33 setting. We've got that tuned right in there. Let's get her set up. That's probably fine. And let's see how the needle sounds. So as you can see, the vinyl has much less pop to it, mostly because it's newer.
Gentlemen, be seated. Get out the way, old man Tucker. Get out the way, old man Tucker. Get out the way, old man Tucker. You're too late to come for supper. I came to town the other night. I heard the noise and I saw the fight. The watchman, he came running around saying, old man Tucker's come to town. Get out the way, old man Tucker. Get out the way, old man Tucker. Get out the way, old man Tucker. It's too late to come for supper. Oh, Mandy, I love you. Deed I do, my Mandy. Your eyes, they shine like diamonds. Love to me. Seems as though my heart would break without you, Mandy. 'Cause I love you, Mandy, deed I do. My Mandy. I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair, born like a vapor on the summer air. I see her tripping where the bright streams play, happy as the daisies that dance on her way. Many were the wild notes her merry voice would pour. Many were the blithe birds that wore how my heart grows weary, far from the old folks at home. All the world is sad and dreary everywhere I roam. Oh, Lordy, how my heart grows weary, far from the old folks at home. Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, oh, doo-dah day. I went down there with a hat caved in, doo-dah, doo-dah. Came back home with a pocket full of tin, oh, doo-dah day. Gonna run all night, gonna run all day. I bet my money on a bobtail nag, somebody bet on the bay.
Bobtail Billy in a big black horse.
Doo-dah, doo-dah.
Polly took the tack and they both won the cross.
Oh, doo-dah day, a blind horse sticking in a big mud hole. Doo-dah, doo-dah. He can't touch bottom with a 10-foot pole. Oh, doo-dah day, gonna run all night, gonna run all day. I bet my money on a bobtail nag.
Somebody bet on the bay.
In the evening by the moonlight, you can hear the voices singing. In the evening by the moonlight, you can hear those banjos ringing. How the old folks would enjoy it. They would sit all night and listen as we sang in the evening by the moonlight. The pale moonlight. In the evening by the moonlight, you can hear the voices singing. In the evening by the moonlight, you can hear those banjos ringing. How the old folks would enjoy it. They would sit all night and listen
Talkative, I'd like to ask you a question.
Go right ahead. What is it?
Can you tell me, what is it that has 4 legs and flies?
You surely don't mean to pull that old one on me.
If it's so old, tell me the answer. What is it that has 4 legs and flies?
Why, that's a dead horse.
Wrong. All wrong.
I'm wrong. Then suppose you tell us the right answer. What has 4 legs and flies?
2 pair of pants.
Our silver-voiced tenor, Mr. Gilbert Smith, will now sing with the Southland Chorus, When You Were Sweet 16.
I love you as I've never loved before. Since first I met you on the village green, come to me, for my dream of love is on. I love you as I loved you when you were sweet, when you were sweet, 16. I love you as I've never loved before. Since first we met upon the village green, come to me, for my dream of love is on. I love you as I loved you when you were sweet, when you were sweet, 16. The night was mighty dark, so you could hardly see, for the moon refused to shine. Couple sitting underneath the willow tree, for love they pined. Little maid was kind of afraid of darkness, so she said, I'd better go. Boy began to sigh, looked up at the sky, saw the moon his little tail of woe. Oh, shine on, harvest moon, up in the sky. I ain't had no love since January, February, June, or July. So time ain't no time to stay outdoors and spoon. So shine on, harvest moon, for me and my gal.
song, The Preacher and the Bear, is now sung by our renowned baritone, Robert Lamb, with a chorus. A preacher went out a-hunting, 'twas on one Sunday morn. Of course it was against his religion, but he took his gun along. He shot himself some very fine quail and one big measly hare. And on his way returning home, he met a great big grizzly bear. The bear marched out in the middle of the road and he waltzed up to him, you see. Then he got so excited that he climbed a persimmon tree. The bear sat down upon the ground while he climbed way out on a limb. He cast his eyes through the Lord in the skies, and these words said to him, Oh Lord, Lord, did you deliver Daniel from the lion's den? Also deliver Jonah from the belly of the whale, and then the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace, so the good book do declare. Oh Lord, if you can't help me, for goodness sake, don't you help that bear. This preacher stayed up in that tree, I think it was all night. He said, oh Lord, if you help that bear, then you'll see one awful fight. Just about then, the limb let go, the preacher came tumbling down. You should have seen him get his razor out before he struck the ground. He hit the ground, cutting right and left, and he put up a very game fight. The bear then started hugging, he squeezed a little too tight. The preacher then lost his razor, but the bear held on with a vim. He cast his eyes to the Lord in the skies and once more said to him, Oh Lord, Lord, did you deliver Daniel from the lion's den? Also deliver Jonah from the belly of the whale, and then the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace, so the good books do declare. Oh Lord, if you can't help me, for goodness sake, don't you help that bear. For goodness sake, don't you help that bear. For goodness sake, don't you help that bear.
During the intermission, may we suggest that you avail yourself to the many delicious refreshments in the lobby.
All right, so that's basically half of a minstrel show. Let's check out the other side. I don't know why it likes to stick so much. Is there a secondary tab? I don't know. Oh, okay. There we are. All right.
Gentlemen, I am gifted with second sight, and I'm going to give you a demonstration of my powers. If you will tell me what you had for dinner this evening, I'll tell you what your occupation is.
You means if I tell you what I ate for dinner, you tell me what I work at?
Exactly.
Well, here goes. I had some bean soup, roast beef, mashed potatoes, apple pie, and coffee. What am I?
You're a bricklayer.
He's right. Marvelous.
Hey, how about giving me a whirl at this, will you?
Certainly. What did you eat this evening?
Well, I had some tomato soup, and I had some pork and beans, I had rice pudding, and coffee. Now, what am I?
You're a barber.
Darned if he ain't right.
Shucks! Anybody can do that. It's as easy as ABC.
Oh, you think you can do it?
For all the money in the world?
All right, we'll try it. Let me tell you what I had for my dinner. First, I had some olives, celery, radishes, and pickled onions, then mock turtle soup, Next, some filet mignon with mushrooms, then boiled salmon with cream sauce, broiled squab with fried potatoes and green peas, a salad, strawberry ice cream, cakes, and coffee. Then I topped the meal off with a 50-cent Corona. Now, what am I?
You're a liar!
Here's the Southland Chorus and their rendition of My Gal Sal.
They call her Frivolous, a peculiar sort of with a heart that is mellow and all-round good fellow is my old Sal. And all your trouble, sorrow, and care, she's always willing to share. A mild sort of devil, but dead on the level, is my gal Sal. With a heart that is mellow and all-round good fellow is my old Sal. And all your trouble, sorrow, and care, she's always willing to share. A mild sort of devil, but dead on the level, is my gal Sal.
Say, what's all that excitement you started down at the beach last summer?
Oh, was you there?
Sure, I was there. But I never did find out what all the rumpus was about.
Well, I'll tell you. It was like this. I was sunning myself on the sand when I happened to glance at the sea. And there I saw the top of a woman's head floating way up beyond the breakers. I rushed to the rescue and reached her just as she was going down for the third time. I grabbed at her hair, and to my horror, the hair was a wig. Some lifesavers rescued the woman, but I swam ashore with the wig and presented it to the young lady on the shore. Of course, I didn't save her, but don't you think I was a hero just the same?
No.
I wasn't a hero?
No.
If I wasn't a hero, what was I?
A hair restorer.
The Slip-On Poor will now play Lass's trombone.
and the waves roll high, bravely the ship doth ride. Hark while the lighthouse bells solemn cry rings o'er the sullen tide. There on the deck see two lovers stand, heart to heart beating and hand in hand. Though death be near, she knows no fear, while at her side is the one ever dear. Lonely the bell in the old tower rings, bidding us live to the warning it brings. Sailor, take care, sailor, take care, danger is near thee, beware, beware, brave hearts are asleep in the deep, so beware, beware. Many brave hearts are asleep in the deep, so beware. Got a little baby, but she's out of sight. I talk to her across the telephone. I've never seen my honey, but she's mine, all right. So take my tip and leave this gal alone. Every single morning you will hear me yell, "Hey Central, fix me up along the line." She connects me with my honey, then I ring the bell, and this is what I say to baby mine.